Guys, we are back streaming live at Dark Tower Games in downtown Bellingham, Washington. I'm Ian. This is my esteemed colleague, Nick Delaney.
How's it going?
And we're going to bring you round two of the Thursday Legacy.
So, interestingly enough, it's not intentional. We have a repeat of our round one matchup, Sneak and Show against Mud, interestingly enough.
Yeah, and as we saw in our first match of the day, Mud put quite the beat down on the Sneak and Show deck, responding to a turn to Sneak and Show with putting in Kozilek. Annihilator 4, 12-12.
Sure.
And unfortunately, Crystal Brand was not sufficient to combat
that. So we see Tom just go for the show and tell, make a guy. Potentially not the best play when there's just a lot of like Eldrazi and just big monsters running around on the other side of the table for Jared.
Yeah, and I don't know. We never saw a Taxian probe from.
How's that backwards?
Oh, sorry, we've got the names backwards there. We're gonna switch that for you. Yeah, the lack of good Taxian probes really made the difference in that matchup. So mulling the 6 on game 2 and getting Chalice out early, wasn't the ideal.
No, not what he wants to be doing.
For Tom there, but we'll see if Mike can fare any better against the onslaught of Mud. And yeah, really what this matchup comes down to a lot is whether or not that Sneak and Show player can play the Sneak half of their deck instead of the Show half of their deck, if possible. The Sneak attack is one of those cards that doesn't let the Mud deck actually come back from a resolve show and tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise, it's just extremely dangerous.
Yeah, Mike has to be killing Jared in turn that he's casting show and tell, or else it's just not the best line of play.
I agree. Sometimes, if your hand's real action light, you just kind of got to go for it, because the situation's only going to get worse. You just, don't want them to draw more cards and draw something even scarier. Because the Mud deck can put pressure on the Sneak and Show deck, just with cards like Lodestone Golem that just attack for 5.
Looks like both players going down to a mulligan.
Yep. Slightly favorable for Mike, I do believe, in the situation.
Yeah, I agree. You can just kind of win with just 2 cards rather than needing less of a texture of spells and lands.
Yep. Yeah, the Mud deck just needs more mana. It's a little bit more unstable. The mulligans hurt it a little bit worse. So we'll see what they think about their 6s here. And if any of you guys are curious, this is Dark Tower Games in downtown Bellingham, Washington, and feel free to come down. We do Legacy every Thursday at 6.
I believe Jared's on the play here.
Yep, I'm just going to lead off with the Glimmer Post.
Going up to 21.
Yep.
Mike going over his option in his main phase here. Thinking about, it'd be nice, he wants to start with a cantrip ideally.
Yep, just a Ponder, Preordain if he's playing those.
Yep, cards really good at kind of fixing mulligans.
And we'll see how Mike plays this game. We saw in that first match, Tom just content to lay out the. We have a turn 1 City of Traders from Mike.
So either saying, "Hey, I can kill you turn 2," or not having another land.
I actually don't know if there's a reason to do what he just did.
I'm not sure if there is.
I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think there is, because if he had another land, he should have played that.
Yep.
And if he had no lands, he most likely just wanted to keep that City of Traders in hand. If he did have a hand like Show and Tell and Emrakul, and decided if he wants to combo immediately and draw a blue source, that being said, if he had 2 Show and Tells or any other action, I don't really like that play.
I don't either.
From Mike.
Yeah, that might have been a little bit of a misstep here.
Yeah, the City of Traders, I mean, you just want to keep that land around. That's really going to hurt his ability to produce mana.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike had a second land drop. Sure, a batter score.
Yep. Oh, I think is that a batter skull?
I believe that's the Grand Prix
promo batter skull.
Yeah.
Nice. And we see a Force of Will there from Mike.
Pretty good. At least he's
yeah,
still in the game.
He's not getting his life total pressured. He probably was just maybe forced into countering.
Now we hit a pedal. I would not be surprised if we see 3 mana being tapped there.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Targeting for blue for
Brainstorm. Okay.
Oh,
well,
not the best of hands for Mike.
Yeah. That means he doesn't have show and tell. Also means that I think I like saying that City of Traders in your hand, just because you're gonna be very pressed to either keep lands in your hand at this point, which is not good in that plan, or you're just gonna have to sacrifice it.
I agree.
But he can still do that and win if he can resolve a show and tell. And Jared doesn't have something scary to put on the backside. It could get there. That being said, as you see now, that City of Traders actually never even tapped for mana.
Yeah, might have been better to just left in his hands.
Yep. I've learned that from many mistakes I have made.
And here we see Chalice for 1 going to shut off Mike from any potential cantrip. Here we might see a Brainstorm response or Spell Pierce on the Chalice.
Got a Spell Pierce, so not bad. Not a whole lot of great targets in the mud deck for that card. Chalice in the Void for 1 certainly one of them.
Yeah, Mike's still in this game. I've never seen Ancient Tomb off the top, but then a pass, so Mike really with nothing to do.
Yeah, we know he doesn't have show and tell, otherwise he would have cast that off the Lotus Petal in the City of Traders.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not exactly sure how many cards he's got there, but most likely I bet they're just a bunch of Emrakul's. I think most of the cards in his deck he would have casted there. And we see Jared deciding to Vesuva the Ancient Tomb and opting for another Chalice. I like this play from Jared. Vesuving the Ancient Tomb just allows him to get up to 5 mana with just his lands.
Yep.
It'll allow him to untap the Monolith. And the life total, being at above 15 is something in this matchup, but besides that, it's not super relevant.
Absolutely. Pretty heads up from Jared.
Yeah. I like that definitely than just making another Glimmer Post, hoping you'll draw a Cloud Post later.
Jared's going to take a couple of life.
Looks like he may be attempting a Lodestone Golem here. Nope, 5. It is both of the Forge Master.
That's a good one to have here, especially with those Citadels in play.
Yep, Mike reading the card. It is a 3/5 artifact creature construct, and tap, sacrifice 3 artifacts, search your library for an artifact, and put it into play.
Pretty powerful effect. With cards running around like Blightsteel Colossus, this has the potential to just end the game. Here we see a sneak attack from Mike. Without a pedal to activate, so just going to have to shift the turn back. And Jared with the potential to have a really powerful turn here.
Yeah, so this is going to be actually a very interesting situation here of when Jared wants to activate that Koldoth the Forge Master and what he wants to do with it. Because if he does have a card like Sundering Titan in his deck, he could do it now.
That would be a really good
lock out both of the Volcanic Islands.
Makes Mike draw a red source.
He could also potentially go for cards like Mere Battlesphere and just try to take an Annihilator trigger from an Emrakul, take 15 and get him, kill him on the swing back.
Certainly a potential line.
He could also, if he does have cards like Duplicant in his deck, wait for the sneak attack player to sneak in something, and then go fetch up something like a Duplicant or a Spine of Ishsaw to take it out pre-Annihilator trigger.
Here we have a second Forge Master, and then I believe an attack. So Jared's on the beatdown plan.
Did he attack with that Forge Master?
He attacked with that Forge Master.
Oh no.
Absolutely attacked. So on the beatdown plan. And
I don't think that's what he wanted to do with that.
I would agree.
I assume he has cards like Spine of Ishsaw in his deck that would just be able to take care of this Emrakul right here. At least a card like Mere Battlesphere or Wormcoil Engine that will get you a lot of permanence. Maybe you'd be able to kill him on the swing back because you would have 12 power on the swing back there.
Yeah, absolutely. So a potential misstep from Jared might cost him this game as we see Mike animating or activating sneak attack, putting in Emrakul.
And that Clotho the Forge Master is not able to tap because he just played that last turn. Just got Summoning Sickness. He attacked with the one that he attacked with the one that was up last turn. I don't know if there's some confusion going on. Maybe he's just figuring out which permanents to stack here.
Yeah, and sneak.
And it's all of them. So Mike Wolff taking this game with the sneak attack Emrakul.
Yeah. So one thing against sneak attack is to never concede. He goes to 4 there. He doesn't die.
Right.
He goes to 2 rather. But then if Mike doesn't have a follow-up monster, he has potential for a lot of draw steps to rebuild. Mike, a lot of times that deck, I put it in Emrakul, attack, trigger, put them into 3, and no permanents in play, and then they go land, threat, and I draw 7 in consequential cards.
Yeah,
I don't really like the premature swoop.
Yeah, against the show and tell, you can do it just because they have an Emrakul out, but against the sneak attack, they're not left with any board presence. You might be able to draw a few cards. He had he was going to be able to keep a Forge Master and an Artifact land, so one more Artifact, he would have been able to get out a card like maybe a Wormcoil Engine or something to get back in this game, and Glacial Colossus ends the game in 1 turn, It's
potential missteps there, not attacking with the Tutor Lord rather than activating it and searching up one of these powerful cards that we mentioned, but he felt he just wanted to get the game over with as fast as possible. I'm not sure if attacking with 3/4 is the way to do it, or 3/5 rather, but
yeah, I think he probably just didn't quite understand what that sneak attack, how powerful that was going to be against him.
Potentially, or maybe just new with the deck, or we see him the heads up play with the Vesuva, so maybe just a couple missteps. Not the biggest of deal. This is
I make bigger mistakes all the time.
Absolutely. So we'll go back to the game, try to see if we're still in this reset life totals for you guys.
Yep, and Mike able to take that game 1
fairly easily. It seemed he had stumbled a little bit in the early parts of the game, but
yeah, with that City of Traders as being his only land, and then it actually not doing anything.
Yeah, but with Jared with a pretty slow start, and not as explosive as he needs to be to combat a really aggressive strategy like Sneak Show, where he can generate these really quick. You're at 20 life and then you're dead.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did see the sneak attack from Mike, which is the key card in his deck in this matchup. The show and tell being very dangerous for him against the mud deck because he has so many scary cards that can come off. However, he did get sneak attack and was able to sneak attack in that Emrakul take the game. Sideboarding. I think we talked about this a little bit before. If Jared's got Revokers in the sideboard, those are almost undoubtedly coming in, being able to shut off Crystal Brand, shut off the sneak attack, occasionally even shut off cards like Lotus Petal if you really need them to.
Yep, absolutely.
The Sneak and Show player, going to take out some, maybe some of the slightly worse main deck cards, maybe Misdirection. Doesn't do anything in this matchup if he has those in the main deck. I can see taking out a couple Spell Pierces, just for some more proactive cards.
Doesn't seem the best here. I think a card like Echoing Truth would be really good to come in. Maybe get a card, maybe get a Trisphere or a Chalice off the table.
Definitely, Echoing Truth is one of those cards that even if you do show and tell in Emrakul and they put in like a Blight of Colossus, if you can keep open Echoing Truth mana, that can give you some insurance against that kind of situation.
Absolutely.
I definitely have been attacked by a 4/4 Emrakul.
Sure. I can get behind that.
Still hurts.
Still hurts. But if you get to keep the 11/11 around, wrap up that game in short supply. Now we're underway. Jared's just starting off with the Cloud Post. Mike laying down on Misty Rainforest, kind of going over his options.
And this definitely signals, we saw them both bowl to 6 last game, a stronger start from both players. The turn 1 Glimmer Post is probably one of the weaker plays the Mud deck can have, just because you don't have a Cloud Post, and you don't have a Soul Land into a card that you want to cast like Grim Monolith or a Chalice.
Yep.
So the turn 1 Cloud Post, a much stronger play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Signaling he'll most likely be able to cast something sweet here. As you can see, he's going to go up to 22 and be able to lay down a card like Metalworker, Grim Monolith, Trinisphere if you decide to keep those in.
I believe he is playing a main deck Trinisphere.
Main deck Trinispheres, okay.
At least one I saw going through the deck. And here we just see Grim Monolith and passing the turn. Might get a fetch on instant, possible Brainstorm.
5 of their fury, and then they're going to panic.
And yeah,
Or
that,
possibly responding to this monolith.
yep. See, maybe he's got a spell pierce or something like that. Definitely a card you'd want to use on the Grim Monolith, as most of the cards that Monolith is tapping for are large, scary creatures that the spell pierce cannot counter.
So what do you think about? How do you feel about fetching for Volcanic here in the face of a deck that is pretty well known to play?
To play Wasteland, you know, it's. You'd like to not do that if possible.
Potentially, given the texture of his hand, he's not.
Yeah, it can be right to do it. He is going to spell pierce that monolith. You know, it's actually pretty doubtful that that's right, just because unless he's got a hand like sneak attack with a bunch of cantrips and lands.
Sure.
But I'd imagine he'd probably just want to get an island there if he's got cards like Ponder where he can easily get to that red source.
I agree.
I assume he's playing mountains in his deck.
I imagine
at least one.
The deck that like the traditional list plays at least one mountain.
Yeah.
That's pretty the industry standard is you really do want that 5th fetchable.
Yeah, it's not too bad though. The Wastelands aren't insane in this matchup.
Yeah, they're not super. You're not under a lot of pressure. It's
Yeah.
not like a tempo strategy that you're really hard pressed to find answers. So might potentially going on, but without a second land, maybe fetching.
Yeah, without the second land, definitely fetching for the island would have been much better, because a Wasteland here would be devastating.
I'll punish those. Getting away with just the Citadel, and now we just see a pass back from Jared. I assume we'd see the 5/4.
Yep, the Lodestone Golem there.
Yeah, that would have been a good spot for it.
So Jared has 4 mana available.
You see a main phase Bravestorm for Mike.
Most likely that means his hand is chock full of large things and lands.
Or no, he missed the land drop, so he's light on. He's looking. He needs lands.
Oh, I mean
Jared.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if Mike's gonna brainstorm block himself here.
He has rock.
Missed his land drop last turn. Definitely would like to brainstorm into a fetch land here. Would be
that's the best. That's the card he wants to see.
Yep. A card like Ancient 2 would be okay as well. But we'll see.
Without a follow-up, it looks like he is considering his hand size. Might have to.
He's gonna throw out some Lotus Petals. Okay. So he has brainlocked himself here. However,
the
he's
potential to untap and just play like Show and Tell for sneak attack, activate sneak attack.
Yep.
Oh no, we don't have that play. We only have 3 mana.
Yeah.
So we'd have to
untap. You can Show and Tell something.
Yep.
Maybe the sneak attack.
Without the ability to activate the sneak attack in the turn that you were showing telling, that is not the
not the best play. Yeah.
Here we see just a City of Traders and a pass back from Jared. So
okay, so yes,
both players.
You know, it's possible Jared has a card that he's just holding and hoping Mike will cast Show and Tell, and kind of setting a little bit of a trap here. If he has any cards that deal pressure Mike's life total, he definitely would like to do that. It looks like he's going to play another city, float the 2. I believe he has a total of 8 available here.
Might be moving on in.
And it looks like he's tapping 8. This is probably a Sundering Titan?
Sundering Titan.
It is Sundering Titan.
Good spot here for that.
Yep, Mike, missing his land drop, he's just going to destroy that volcanic island.
And with one more card to draw for the Brainstorm that we already knew about, he's going to be at least 2 turns away from hitting a land drop. And now he received a very crucial Force of Will from Mike.
Yep. Just no choice.
That card.
Yep, no choice at all. Needed to deal with the 7/10 there.
And without a card like Daze in his deck, and his only other option being Spell Pierce, that had to be the Force of Will.
Yep, I believe that's probably his only card to answer that Sundering Titan. And that is one of the slight disadvantages of playing these more Cloud Posty versions, is a lot of times you got to cut the Cavern Souls.
Yeah.
Makes you a little bit more vulnerable to cards like Force of Will. And I believe we're going to see a
They're
third
the same
City of
play.
Traders, and I think it's the same play is going to happen. Yep, exact same play, and we are going to see another Force of Will.
So just a mirrored events from the subsequent turns.
Yeah.
Let's see if Mike has a follow-up here as he draws a card.
And usually that's a 2-for-1, but since Jared had to sacrifice 2 City of Traders to do that, it's actually only a 2-for-2, so not too bad for Mike.
Considering saving the Volcanic, it's definitely a play he wants to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think if Mike does have a Show and Tell, he should just go for it in this situation? Or do you think...
I like going for it here.
You like going for it?
I would assume that he doesn't have it. I think this is the spot to do it. Jared's already exhausted 2 monsters. Chances are it could be a Kozilek. That's a potential. But I don't think you're going to win this game and
just sitting back. He's
you're up a game. You can just you have the luxury.
You can decide try to flip that coin.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're just joining us, this is Thursday Night Legacy presented by Dark Tower Games in Bellingham, Washington. We are in our round 2 coverage. Currently in game 2, Jared Somerville playing Mud against Mike Wolff playing Sneak and Show.
And we saw Jared dispatch a Sneak and Show player in the first round extremely quickly.
Yep.
Having a little bit of trouble in this match, however, just got his Grim Monolith Shattering Screed, that almost undoubtedly coming out of the sideboard from Mike.
Yeah, Shattering Screed, a really good option.
I feel like because Jared does have access to 6 mana and a number of cards in his hand that he has not played, he may have kind of the scarier top end of his deck.
Sure.
Cards like Lifesteal Colossus.
He does have a
Kozilek,
good grip. He's got 4 or 5 cards in the grip here, so.
possibly Spine of Ishsaw.
Did we just see Ancient Tomb passing the turn?
Oh, I believe we see a All Is Dust in Jared's hand there.
Okay.
Kind of an interesting card. Actually, not a card I like in this matchup too much.
I don't think so either.
Just because Jared's deck is so explosive, it can't even kill Emrakul, and you really can only kill cards like Bristlebrand and Sneak Attack, and 7 mana to do that is just not really where you want to be
I
at.
completely agree. And here we see Mike fetching, going down to 16, and I think he's going to move in on a copy of Sneak Attack.
Yep, most positive that's what he'll be doing here. Only 4 mana card in his deck, I assume, and definitely the card that he wants in this matchup more than anything else. He also might try to show and tell it in to try to activate it this turn, but nope, just running out the Sneak Attack, and
you gotta assume that Mike has a monster missing multiple land drops. So.
Yep, he's got 6 mana right now. If he hits his land drop, he will be able to take care of that Sneak Attack lever with the All Is Dust.
Yeah.
So let's see if All Is Dust is going to do some work here. Be able to take care of that Sneak Attack, and he's got to assume that he has to.
Yeah, Jared kind of mulling over his options. I'm not sure what draw he could have had to make him have to think about a line right now. Wait.
Yeah, possibly a card like Phyrexian Revoker, maybe.
Sure.
Debating which one he'd rather cast
This
here.
would absolutely be the time to play with Phyrexian Revoker.
Yep. Maybe he's just trying to think of. He's got a card like Wormcoil Engine. He's wondering if he should just run that out against like an oncoming Emrakul.
Yep.
And it looks like he did hit a land there, so he's going to be able to gain 3 life, keeping him safely out of 1-hit Emrakul range.
Yep.
And
also pretty important, keeping him out of Gristlebrand and Emrakul attacking for 22. So that's a big deal.
Though I think he'll probably have to tap that Ancient Tomb there.
Yep. Going down to 23, so still out of that window for now. So here we see 7 mana.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep.
Spine of Ishsaw.
And there's Spine of Ishsaw.
It's a good card to have in this situation.
Yeah, I kind of like playing the All Is Dust a bit more, just because you can put in Spine of Ishsaw off of the Show and Tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
It can take care of cards like Emrakul, while the All Is Dust cannot.
I completely agree.
But we decided to go for the other line there.
Here we see main phase Brainstorm for Mike, so kind of rebuild after having to crack 2 of these petals.
Yeah, that was a really good turn for Jared just to be able to answer that Sneak Attack. Mike had to use 2 petals just to cast it.
Yep.
So, in a sense, it was kind of like a 3-for-1 there.
Mike finding a 3rd land, going to fetch down to 15. Probably going to fetch out a 3rd Volcanic Island.
Yeah, once you've got a couple Volcanics in play, there's not really much sense in getting your basics.
Yep. I think I would have preferred my sequencing to have been to get basics this game to play around Wastelands.
Yeah, he could have been done it.
We have yet to see Wasteland from Jared, so maybe the players know something we don't, and that Jared is not on Wasteland.
He could be on a little bit slightly a bit of a budget version. Decided to not play those Wastelands. I don't think we've seen a Wasteland from him in 3 games. So.
These 3 guys, they're going to kill him. They're awesome. Yes, you're out of
Michael resolving his fetch, passing the turn, Jared done tapping, taking his turn.
Yep, and this is kind of one of those interesting situations where we've seen, both these decks are so explosive, just kind of, you see kind of the worst mechanics of these decks, where they're both not really able to do anything. The Sneak and Show deck just spending a ton of mana to not really play cards that impact the board, and the Mud deck just kind of running into Force of Wills with, its that 7 drops here. And that happens sometimes. It's amazing that these super fast kind of combo-y, rampy decks sometimes can play very long games.
Yep, absolutely. Jerry kind of going over what he wants to tap. Looks like he's going to keep that Ancient Tomb up.
Looks like this might be a Coldotha. Oh no, he's opting for a Chalice, I believe, for 3.
3. Cutting off that show and tell, so implying that he doesn't have anything to benefit from show and tell.
Yeah. I've definitely done this a couple times this matchup. It's fairly strong. Occasionally, these Sneak and Show decks will also run cards like Cunning Wish. It can shut off that. So we see a Chalice for 3 resolving from him, and it doesn't block off too many cards in this deck. Only the Metalworker.
Yep.
And also the Staff of Domination if he's running that.
You see another Shatter Spree, I believe.
Yep. It's just gonna need another Shattering Spree, and a great card from the sideboard. However, it's one of those cards that any spells you board in that aren't part of your combo or part of finding your combo do hurt the Show and Tell deck quite significantly. Because sometimes you end up with a hand of lands and Shattering Sprees, and there's not really much you can do with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we've maybe seen a little bit of that here with him. Having 2 Shattering Sprees, they've been okay. They've been able to 1-for-1 Jared, but being further away from your combo is definitely a problem. And we see a Blood Moon here from Mike.
It's very powerful here. We're getting to the point of the game
powerful, but he also has walked himself off of blue mana because he decided to get all Volcanic Islands.
Correct.
And that Blood Moon, Jared still has 6 mana, even with that Blood Moon out.
That might favor Jared a little bit more than Mike at this point.
I have to imagine it does.
So Jared tapping 4, and here's the Lodestone Golem. So Mike really in some dire straits. He needs a sneak attack and a land drop here.
Yeah, I'm very surprised he didn't get islands if he was boarding in Blood Moon.
Yeah, so
I mean, now he can't cast cards like Show and Tell. He can't cast Brainstorm. He can't cast Ponder.
Yeah, I think you see Mike kind of realizing his blunder at this point. Maybe he has a card to get him out of the situation. So we see him tapping for 3 red. Wonder what card this could be. I think he maybe is realizing right now that those don't tap for blue.
Yeah, definitely a card I do not like from the Sneak and Show deck in this matchup in general. Just because the Mud deck's playing a colorless deck, it doesn't stop them from casting any spells in their deck. It slows them down a little bit, but with cards like Metalworker and Grim Monolith, they can very easily just hard cast their fatties.
I agree.
And it's another one of those cards that doesn't help you combo out. It's just like
how much do you want to dilute your deck after board?
Yeah, exactly.
I love Blood Moon in the format. It's one of my favorite sideboard cards. This last tournament, I played 7 of my 9 matches. I boarded in 3 Blood Moons, 3 Pyroclasms, Delver decks, and the like. But here we see a sneak attack.
Yep, Island came off the top, so 5 mana, paying the extra for the Lodestone Golem. However, Jared with his 7 lands out, we do know that card in hand is a All Is Dust.
It's going to be really good here.
And that is going to be able to take care of that sneak attack. It's also going to kill the Blood Moon, which he might actually not want to do.
Is Lodestone Golem a symmetrical effect?
Oh, actually, that's true. It will cost 1 more because of the Lodestone Golem. You're very correct. And we should actually remind them of this right now, because that Lodestone Golem does make that card cost 1 more because it is not an artifact. It's a colorless card.
I will start picking off these. Sure.
Thank you very much, Nick Delaney, for catching that. Always the sad part in the Mud deck when you try to cast your card with 7 mana and a Lodestone Golem out.
You see that happen in the Death and Taxes deck where they're play a card like Thalia and then trying to curve that into Council's Judgment. It doesn't really do what they want it to do. So
yeah, that
being a symmetrical effect, it's not often coming into play to hurt the Mud deck, but right there we see it kind of come back to get Jared. Here we have Mike activating sneak attack. We got an Emrakul and we got a Gristlebrand, and that's gonna wrap it up.
15. That's if we do have the rules correct, it'll put him at 1. I believe we have these correct, but we'll can't guarantee that to you.
And I don't want to go ask because that would imply that
that was
not dead and that would be helping him. So
exactly, we see a scoop there. Okay, so Mike winning the match 2-0 against the Mud deck.
Yeah, and both of those rounds kind of different textures to them.
Yeah, we saw the Mud deck really smash the Show and Tell in the first match, and the second match was not able to do it. Lost in 2 games. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got about 20 minutes left in the round. We'll see if we can't bring one more game for you guys, but if not, we'll be back shortly with our round number 3 of Thursday Night Legacy presented by Dark Tower Games. We'll hope to try to get a better match, maybe a little bit more interactive, fair decks.
But yeah, some Stone Blade or some Miracles on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Stick around and see you soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah.